I would look at them, even though I respected them, I'd look at them like they're pieces of meat. And I was like, I'm going to come back and I'm going to eat you all. Like, I had to have that attitude. I have to be that aggressive in the approach. I didn't know anything different. We're back and we've got a little upgrade because we're going to be changing things around here. Myself and the guys, we want to obviously give you quality content, and that means in all aspects. It means the information we provide. It means the quality of the actual content itself, visually, sound and all that stuff. If you guys aren't overly aware on AMA, because I feel like a lot of you aren't, AMA is an opportunity for you to ask some of your favourite professional bodybuilders very, very in-depth questions and get very, very solid, experience-based answers. It's something to be taken advantage of because we didn't have this when I was younger. You obviously had some forums, but now you can actually get full-length videos in response to the things you ask. There's myself. You obviously have Lee Priest. You have a few other gentlemen that I know you are fans of, including Evan Centopani. When I grew up in bodybuilding, I only had YouTube and I could watch Evan train and I couldn't ask questions. I could literally just watch and hope and try to emulate. Now we're in a position where we're here and we're willing to discuss all matter of topics, whether they're bodybuilding related or not, and basically give you our opinions based on our experience for them. The AMA isn't just about what steroids do you take. It's not just about how much do you lift in the gym. I know there are a lot of other questions that can factor into bodybuilding lifestyle, because bodybuilding doesn't just affect what you do in the gym, it can affect a lot of things. Relationships, friendships, time commitments, work life, all those kind of things. We're making ourselves available to try and help answer questions based on anything that may be either of concern or of interest. Basically, there's no limit to what we can answer here, and we can answer them in an environment that is uncensored. We're not limited by anything. We're not unable to speak on anything. We can be very honest and we can be very open. So I just wanted to get that across because I think a lot of people think it's probably just a place where you go to say, what cycle should I take, or what's the best supplement? Yeah, it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that, I promise. You can even ask questions like personal ones, like what was your best times in bodybuilding? What memories are fond of? I'm happy to talk about things about some of the more serious tone things, you know. Some of us experienced some losses of, you know, people we love, stuff like that. Everything that we answer is in order to try and help other people. It's all just to help. So please don't be shy. Get over to the IFBBAMA.org and make sure that you leave your questions. They can be as short as you want, they can be as long as you want, they can be as ridiculous as you feel, they can be very serious. It doesn't matter what they are. They can be a variety and a full array of different kind of questions. We're not limited, like I say. So today I wanted to discuss a little something. I am looking at my phone because I was having a conversation with one of my friends who are involved in AMA, because he noticed that I mentioned something the other day on another platform about the kind of whole putting your eggs in a basket to try and obtain something approach. We were talking about another gentleman. I won't say names right now because that isn't actually important. But this person has relied quite heavily on sponsorships to provide them with a good life, and they've got to a point now where sponsorships have dried up and they're struggling, which I do not wish on anybody, of course. And that kind of got us talking about how important it is to make sure that you're not just relying on one revenue stream, especially one that is a sponsor and not actually, you know, like a contracted job. This got me looking at a lot of like my history and how I came up in bodybuilding and how I dealt with decisions along the way, and then how now I am in a position where I'm doing okay, you know, touch wood, life's pretty good, income isn't bad, and I have a variety of, you know, revenue streams. None of them are, you know, millions, to wish they were, but I'm in a position where if something was to suffer, if one thing was to disappear off the table, I wouldn't be totally in the dark because I have other things that can keep me afloat. I say this because I'm starting at the end. I'm kind of reverse engineering. At the end, that's the position I'm in now. Yes, I have opportunities and I have financial commitments and gains coming from, you know, a couple of areas. It wasn't always that way. Bodybuilding or any high level sport, even performance, like let's say you're a singer or an actress or whatever, anything that involves a lot of energy going into a craft is going to require a lot. I was baffled that this person actually had the commitment from the sponsors that they had in the first place, because I won't shit on the person, but they didn't really have any achievements. It feels like they were very lucky to be in the position they're in, and you can't leave things to luck. Hard work is what's going to give you some stability. So like I say, I can only relate to my other gentlemen that are involved in the AMA, like Evan and Lee. These people have had success within bodybuilding, applied themselves to other jobs as well. Evan's, he does financial planning. Like, he's actually qualified financial planner, helps other people kind of organize their life's finances and how to protect their money and their assets for even if someone was to unfortunately pass. He's developed other skills and he's managed to put himself in a position where, like I said earlier, he's not relying on one sole income. But you look at Evan 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 2000s, when Evan was coming up as a bodybuilder, the man was relentless and focused on one particular path, and that was bodybuilding. The correlation between myself, Lee, Evan is that exact same thing. There was a time and there was a period where everything that we did, everything that we were doing was aimed towards being the freaking best at bodybuilding. This gentleman that I speak of hasn't got that foundation, is kind of just a social presence who kind of messes about online and does things a little bit differently, which is cool, but it's not sustainable. I feel for him because there isn't anything as a foundation to prop himself on when that goes to fail, which it has. So Evan, myself, Lee, I'm not saying we're fantastic and we're making thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds, we're not, but there was a time in our life where we had to put ourselves on a particular road and had to, sacrifice certain opportunities perhaps in order to reap the benefits of the given path. There's been a time where, when you're bodybuilding, you have to say no to this, no to that. Sorry, I can't. Maybe next year. Right now, there's an objective, there's a goal, an objective is over here, and if I do any of this stuff, I'm going to deter myself from the trajectory that is going to be victory. Evan went on to win 3 professional shows, placed top 3 in the Arnold twice. Lee won multiple professional shows, placed in the top 6 in the Olympia. I'm in a position where I'm still competing and I've managed to qualify for the Olympia 3 times, won 3 professional shows. That took something along the lines of risk. Risk is the word. Putting everything in with no promise of it ever giving anything back. I remember when I was younger, I'd sit and talk to my mother. I'd be like, this is the plan. I want to get this out of this. This is what I'm going to do. And on the outside, looking in, people that aren't involved or don't have those aspirations, they think you're mad. They think you're crazy. They're like, you're not going to achieve, or even if you do, is it even going to benefit you, from a financial standpoint, from a life standpoint, what are you going to get from this? And I won't lie, at the time, I just had to, and I know these gentlemen did too, you have to literally just put your blinkers on and you put your earbuds in and you don't listen to a word that's said to you, and you just go forward and you march forward, and at every hurdle you make sure you spend a considerable amount of energy and drive to not let that hurdle be the last one. A lot of people have come into bodybuilding or any other endeavor and pursued something and hit like a stop point, and many people get to that and they're like, this isn't for me, it's not the time, this isn't going anywhere. You have to have a really relentless attitude. You have to have a really almost aggressive attitude towards that. You have to almost look at obstacles as though they're something that has to be destroyed. And I remember along the way, doing bodybuilding shows on the come up, and I'd win one, I'd lose one, and I'd look at the people I was competing against, and I would look at them, even though I respected them, I'd look at them like they're pieces of meat, and I was like, I'm going to come back and I'm going to eat you all. Like, I had to have that attitude. I have to be that aggressive in the approach. I didn't know anything different, and I know that the other gentlemen felt exactly the same. The point I'm trying to get across is that for you to obtain anything worthwhile, you have to have an unholy amount of dedication and aggression and desire to achieve something that isn't promised to you, yet you're not going to accept no for an answer. You literally have to be more than just a human. You got to be, it's like you got to be impenetrable, you got to be invincible. Like everything that's thrown at you has to deflect off. You cannot let anything hold you down for too long. I miss being like that. I'm not like that now. I know I'm not like that now. I think that's only a matter of time thing. What I will say is I'm very glad that I had it, because I think without that attitude and without that kind of approach, I would have never got to the point I am now where I have the things I do now. I'm very, very grateful for growing up feeling so angry and so focused. Like I backstory, you know, I grew up, my dad left when I was like 6, and I know loads of other bodybuilders have a very similar origin story. They feel hard done by, but they also aren't quitters. So they're like, okay, yeah, I've been hard done by. I didn't have something that I want, but now I'm going to go and fucking get something I want. That was the attitude that I had from that loss. I always looked at it like it was a blessing. Like, okay, you may not be around and you may not give a shit, but I'm going to do something so fucking fantastic and so impressive that one day you're going to know my name and you're going to absolutely look down and be like, wow, fuck, I should have invested in this kid. That was always my approach. And that, like I say, that mentality and that aggression and that focus is something that I've seen in a majority of people that are champions and are doing well for themselves now. You speak to Jay Cutler and you ask how, you know, focused and malicious he was, you know, Ronnie, any of them guys, there's a level of aggression and focus that's in these people that gets you to be successful, put it that way. This guy, it's like, sad as it sounds, he feels like shit's owed to him. It's like, but you didn't do none of that shit that we had to do in the beginning. How the fuck's anything owed to you? Like, how can anything be owed to you if you've had no sacrifice? Or if you never truly had to survive in a position that could have cost you everything and not given anything back. I know a lot of bodybuilders or a lot of successful people that have had it way worse than me. Way harder than me, and I have absolute admiration and respect for them. The point isn't trying to compare. The point is just trying to say there's just a certain something in you that should be nurtured in order to be successful. I'm nowhere near the most successful person on the planet, but I can definitely go to the end. If I got to the end of my life with the success I have now, I can definitely say I'm more on the successful side than the less successful side. And I'm disappointed that that a lot of people out there feel entitled to have, you know, sponsors and not know what a hard day's work is. This stemmed from a conversation I was having about someone who is complaining that his sponsors have shat on him and given up on him. But man, like, that shit can happen to anybody. What are you going to do now that you don't have that? Like, why didn't you put anything in place to protect yourself or protect your family? Guys out there that are trying to do very well at something or want to be really good at something, I would say this. There's a certain amount of time you can have that attitude that I'm trying to talk about, and it's when your responsibility levels aren't so high. This particular person has a family, okay? If you leave it to when you've got a family to invest that hard and be that focused, I can't see how that's going to work with trying to survive as a family or provide for them. I'm not saying you have to be young. I'm just saying, like, situationally, you have to look at what you have around you and what you have to lose. Invest heavy and invest hard emotionally when you don't have a lot to lose. This is advice I try to give to young bodybuilders now today. I'm like, if you're young right now and you want to be the best bodybuilder in the world, now's the time to fucking put your head down and treat it really seriously, because later you'll reap the benefit. It's not time to fuck around. It's not time to be more concerned with how many TikTok followers you got. It's not time to be concerned more about how many likes you get on Instagram. Now's when you're in the dungeon, people ain't watching and you're doing the work. Later, when you're successful and you're on stage, the likes will come, the sponsorships will come, the opportunities will come. Basically, just don't be this guy. Don't beg for the attention and don't beg for the sponsorships. Yes, it will take you putting the majority of your eggs into one basket in the beginning. It absolutely will. But if you do that right, there will come a time where later in life you can distribute those eggs to multiple things and you can live well. That was the ramble for today. I just wanted to say it. Like, whether it makes sense to you, it might not, because it might not be something you never considered. I have a tendency to talk and kind of just let loose everything that I'm feeling, and there's not necessarily a beginning or an end. But just listen to the amount of things we've said there and just take bits that maybe resonate with you. And if you have any questions in your head about your situation in life, and this conversation gives you some sort of clarity on that position you're in. For example, if you're this guy and you're relying solely on one thing to stay afloat, you're in a troublesome spot. Now's the time to start thinking about a backup plan, or at least trying to get something in place that's going to assist you if this is ever to fail. To the young guys out there that are trying to be champions and trying to be incredible whatever they do, if you still live at home and you don't have to pay much rent, now's the time to put all those eggs, apart from one egg you keep and you love your family with that, but let's say you got 6 eggs, 5 of them going to your bodybuilding now, and then later in life you can allocate those 6 eggs to different things. But it was just something that kind of caught my attention, and I could ramble about this person all day, but there's no need. I feel sorry for them. I'm not triggered by it by any means, really. I just feel like it's I just don't want people to fall victim to what social media makes you believe. It makes you believe that you can just pick up a sponsor like that and be paid and make a living. If you can be picked up and paid and make a living like that, it can be taken away like that. Have some fucking foundation to what you do. Prove yourself. Earn some fucking respect. Don't be shallow. Have some concrete and some weight behind who you are and what you do, whatever that may be. It hasn't got to be bodybuilding. I'm just using it as a relatable topic. So yeah, be mindful with your eggs, and remember, you want to know anything more? AMA. If you want to go deeper on the subject, AMA. Subscribe. Do share, and I'll be back answering some specific questions on the next one. This was just a topic that I felt the need to ramble on about as I do. Love it or hate it, it's out there, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you again.